Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button to support the channel and stay updated on more historical stories. Escapes from the camps. Defiance behind barbed wire. Introduction. When escape meant resistance. The Nazi camp system was designed not only to imprison bodies, but to break minds. Every detail, from the layout of barracks to the rhythms of forced labor, was meant to convince prisoners that escape was futile, resistance meaningless, and survival temporary. Barbed wire, guard towers, dogs, informants, and collective punishment worked together to create a single message: there is no way out. Yet, history proves that this message failed. Throughout the years of the Second World War, prisoners across occupied Europe attempted to escape from camps that were specifically engineered to make escape impossible. These attempts were not reckless impulses. They were calculated acts of defiance, shaped by desperation, intelligence, and moral clarity. To escape was to reclaim agency in a system designed to erase it. This is the story of those escapes, not as isolated events, but as a form of resistance against annihilation. The architecture of fear and control. The Nazi camp network expanded rapidly after 1939. Camps varied in function, but they shared a common goal: total domination. In extermination camps such as Auschwitz-Birkenau, Sobibor, and Treblinka, death was the primary outcome. Labor camps prolonged suffering until bodies collapsed. Concentration camps existed to terrorize and control. The illusion of absolute security was intentional. Prisoners were deliberately disoriented upon arrival. Numbers replaced names. Hair was shaved. Families were separated within minutes. Violence was unpredictable, reinforcing psychological paralysis. Escaping such an environment required not only physical opportunity, but mental resistance to despair. The psychological barrier to escape. Many prisoners later testified that the hardest barrier was not the fence, but fear. Fear of being shot. Fear of torture. Fear that fellow prisoners would be punished in retaliation. The Nazis understood that collective punishment was one of their most effective weapons. If one man escaped, 10 others might die. This reality forced prisoners to weigh their own survival against the lives of others. Some refused to attempt escape for this reason alone. Others concluded that silence would only guarantee more deaths. The decision to escape was therefore not purely personal, it was deeply moral. Some early escape attempts, learning through failure. In the early years of the camp system, escape attempts were often spontaneous and poorly planned. Prisoners underestimated distances, overestimated civilian support, and lacked false documents or food supplies. Many were caught within hours. Captured escapees were executed publicly. Their deaths were staged as lessons. Prisoners were forced to watch. The message was reinforced repeatedly. Resistance leads only to suffering. Yet each failed attempt also revealed weaknesses in the system: blind spots in guard routines, corruptible guards, moments of chaos during transports, or opportunities during labor outside the camp. Knowledge spread quietly, prisoner to prisoner. Auschwitz. Escaping the center of destruction. Auschwitz was the largest and most complex camp system in Nazi-occupied Europe. Its size paradoxically created opportunities for escape. Prisoners worked in construction, factories, and warehouses. Some moved between subcamps. Others had limited contact with civilian workers. Among the most significant escapes was that of Rudolf Verba and Alfred Wetzler in April 1944. Their escape was not motivated by survival alone. It was driven by knowledge. The escape of Verba and Wetzler. Verba and Wetzler knew that hundreds of thousands of Jews were being deported to Auschwitz without understanding their fate. They believed that if the truth were known, deportations could be stopped. Their plan required extraordinary patience. They hid inside a hollowed-out woodpile near the camp perimeter for 3 days, soaked in gasoline and tobacco to confuse guard dogs. Any movement could have exposed them. When they finally fled, they walked through forests, avoided roads, and survived on scraps. They crossed borders knowing that capture meant certain death. Their survival was improbable. Their testimony was explosive. The Verba-Wetzler report and its impact. After reaching safety, the two men dictated a detailed report describing Auschwitz's gas chambers, crematoria, selection processes, and transport schedules. It was the first precise, systematic description of industrial mass murder. This report circulated among Allied governments, resistance groups, and Jewish organizations. Although political hesitation and disbelief limited its immediate effect, it later played a crucial role in exposing Nazi crimes and pressuring governments to act. Their escape turned hidden genocide into documented fact. Sobibor. Escape as collective revolt. Sobibor was designed to leave no witnesses. Prisoners were murdered almost immediately after arrival. Survival beyond weeks was rare. Yet in October 1943, prisoners organized a coordinated revolt under the leadership of Soviet Jewish officer Alexander Pechersky. The plan was audacious. Assassinate SS officers quietly, seize weapons, and break out en masse. Axes, knives, and deception replaced firearms. When the camp descended into chaos, hundreds of prisoners ran toward the forest through minefields and gunfire. Most were killed. Some survived. Sobibor ceased to exist soon after. Escape had destroyed secrecy. Treblinka. Desperation turned into rebellion. Treblinka was optimized for speed. Trains arrived, people died, ashes disappeared. In August 1943, prisoners staged an uprising born from the certainty that death was inevitable. They stole weapons, set buildings ablaze, and attempted to overwhelm guards. Around 200 prisoners escaped. Fewer than 70 survived the war. But Treblinka never resumed operations. Even failure could dismantle a killing machine. Women and escape. Invisible resistance. Women faced additional barriers: constant surveillance, sexual violence, and fewer work assignments that allowed movement. Despite this, women played critical roles in escapes. In Auschwitz, female prisoners smuggled gunpowder from a munitions factory, enabling a revolt in 1944. Others escaped disguised as civilians or with forged identities. Their resistance was often quieter, but no less dangerous. Life after the fence. Escaping the camp did not guarantee safety. Former prisoners faced forests, hunger, patrols, betrayal, and anti-Semitism. Some were killed by civilians seeking rewards. Others were hidden by families who risked execution for helping them. Those who survived often joined partisan groups, turning from victims into fighters. Escape became continuation, not conclusion. Why escapes matter beyond numbers. Relatively few prisoners escaped successfully. But escapes changed history. They exposed truth. They disrupted extermination. They preserved testimony. They proved resistance was possible. They remind us that even in a system designed to eliminate choice, some chose defiance. Conclusion. Humanity in motion. To escape a Nazi camp was to step into the unknown with nothing but resolve. It meant choosing danger over certainty, movement over submission, life over silence. These escapes do not erase the scale of the crime, they illuminate it. They tell us that even when humanity was targeted for destruction, it did not vanish quietly. It ran, it resisted, it survived.